Good morning. It's Friday, January the 27th, 2012. I got a little bit of a late start working on this video here. I had a number of things to do, and of course I always want to make my trades in the morning. I got on Sinai right here at the break of the 5-minute high at 34.71. It had a very narrow stop loss of at 34.59, one below this candle here, 12-cent stop loss. And I went with my full load, 1,500 shares, kept my stop risk of loss at $180, which is under the $200 level. And I'm already through the first two trades. I sold out at the first 1/3 at 20 cents and the second 1/3 at 50 cents. And I got 500 shares remaining. And I'm moving as per my rules, I'm moving my stop loss up. My stop is one underneath this candle right here at 34.88 on the remaining 500 shares. Just going to put this on pause. I missed MCP coming out of the gate. The buy here was at 30.54. It had a pretty big stop loss for my liking anyway. It had a 25-cent stop loss, the low of this candle here. It went as high as 31.52, did not quite make the dollar, was at a 98-cent rise over the entry price. As I say, I didn't get on that, but I'm sure a lot of the members did. Molycorp just hit 31.55 on this candle right here. What's that anyway? I think that was my Sinai. Hang on. And it was, and I just got sold on my Sinai. I made my dollar, it hit 35.71 and sold me out the remaining shares. It's kind of nice. Okay, even though I missed MCP earlier this morning, I didn't get on that one. I did do very well on Sinai. I had 1,500 shares. I sold 500 at 20 cents, 500 at 50 cents, and the remaining 500 at $1. My total gross on the trade before commissions was $1.70 times the times 500. I trade in blocks of 300 shares, so I had 5 blocks of shares, 5 blocks of 300 shares. So I made a nice profit on this particular trade right here, even though I did miss MCP. And MCP would have been an equivalent trade. It would have hit the 20.50 and $1 mark, all within the first half hour of trading. Just to recap, if this is your first time here, this is our stock pick panel that goes out to our members each morning, 15 minutes before the market opens. It's a very simple, easy to use application. It's browser based, which means there's no downloads or no plugins required. You start to see these signals after the first 5-minute candle forms. So at 9:35, these signals start popping up, and they'll tell you what to do. These are stocks that were gapping up in the pre-market for various reasons. Could have been earnings releases, a lot of earnings releases today, in fact, company news, analyst upgrades, dividend hikes, economic reports, talk show plugins, rumors, etc., etc. Whatever the reasons, these were stocks that were primed for big moves in the first hour of trading. And that's all we're concerned about. When after 10:30, these signals lose their significance. And that's why at 10:30, most of our members, including myself, are out of the market and taking the rest of the day off. Some of these stocks took off right out of the gate. As you can see, Molycorp was one of those. And some of them had pullbacks, some price retracement, and went up after the retracement. So how do you know what to do? Well, that's the easy part. Rather than you poring over tons of charts and signals and indicators and notes and everything else, you just follow the chart. The chart will tell you what to do. These points here are an accumulation of all your charts and indicators and notes and everything else that you might be looking at every day, and it takes the mathematical logarithms. It uses primarily price and volume to create these points here, and in turn create the sell signals. So it tells you what to do. I'm going to put our little panel here, put it right here. There's a 14-day free trial available. If you're interested, there's the website, playthegap.com, www.playthegap.com. 14-day free trial period, no obligations. Here's another nice trade. Again, I didn't get on this, trying to make this movie and trade at the same time. It's a little difficult. This is sort of like the sleeper MSCC. It did have earnings released today, earnings reports. It's not a big volume stock. It trades about 600,000-700,000 volume, but by the same token, we just lost it. It went into a wait mode. There it is. It went in play at 1916. It's up to 1976. So if you had been on this trade, and I'm sure a lot of our folks are on it, a lot of our members are in this already, because it was on the panel. And as you can see, it had a nice spike. It did gap up this morning. Then it had a big gap down for some reason, but it had good earnings, so it had the potential, and then it did rise. It's up 60 or 70 cents from its entry here, so you would have been out of the first two parts of your trade at 20 and 50 cents. Your risk factor on this here was 3 cents, so you could have got into this trade with a 3-cent stop loss on 1,500 shares. That's $45 stop loss, and right now you'd have 500 at 20 cents and 500 at 50 cents. You'd have $350 in the bank, and you'd have moved your stop loss up to one below this candle right here. That's the way we do it. You would have a stop loss in at 1940. You'd have 24 cents locked in on your remaining 500 shares. What's that? Roughly another $120. So you'd have a nice little profit socked away by now in this particular trade, and it's still going. All of these rules and regulations and everything we do are explained on the website here. Rather than take up all the time on this video, you can go to this website, playthegap.com. And if you're on one of these sites, it may already be explained on this on the site where you're watching this video, unless you're watching it on YouTube. But anyway, go to playthegap.com. Everything is covered there. It shows you how we trade in blocks of 300 shares. It explains all of our rules and how we trade. And you're going to find that the methodology of our trading strongly stresses money management, and you're going to find that's the key to this whole any kind of successful trading. Okay, I'm going to wrap this video up. It's 10:40, 10 minutes past the 10:30 mark. As you can see on MSCC, it did break out nicely. I wasn't on this one, but the buy was at 1917 right here. One below the, break of the prior candle at 1917. Had a very small stop loss of 5 cents. So on 1,500 shares, you would have had a maximum risk of loss of $75. It ran up as high as 1997. It didn't hit the dollar target. Went up as high as 80 cents. The rule is to sell at the first break of a previous bar's low, and it broke the low right here. We would have had our stop in to sell out at 1977. We would have made 60 cents on the last 500 shares. So we would have made 20 cents. We would have sold at 20 cents, 50 cents, and 60 cents, 500 shares each time. The total would have been $130 on each block of 300 shares. So if you had 1,500 shares, you would have made 130 times the 5 blocks. Let's just go back. The Sinai is still going up. This is the only one that I was on today. I had 1,500 shares on this one. Now this is the one that hit the 20, 50, and $1. This is what we call the perfect trifecta. which is $170 on each block of 300 shares. If you had the whole 1,500 shares on this one, the stop loss on this one would have been 12 cents, so you would have had a bigger risk of loss here of $180. But it did go up, and it did hit all three targets. You had the trifecta, $170 per 300 blocks of shares. Okay, now the way we play this, every order that we place is the same. At least I do, let's put it that way. And whether the members all follow the rules or not, that's up to them, but apparently most of them do. We use preset OSO orders, and which means you just have to enter the symbol, because a lot of times you have to do this rather quickly. You buy in blocks of 300 shares and sell in stages of one third at 20 cents, 50 cents, and $1. Some people set their own guidelines, some of them a little lower, some of them higher. That's entirely up to you. And the stop loss we set is usually one below the entry candle. I use a share size table, which is available to determine how many shares to buy based on the stop loss. All of this information is on our website. I'm just going to put this back up here again, all the rules and regulations. And of course, there's a lot of other information on there too, prior trades and previous performances. There's even a blog that shows you a lot of the trades that we did make. The whole idea of this thing is to keep your stop loss at a bare minimum, to keep your losses low, and your profits will appreciate or accumulate on their own. Not on their own, but the profits will accumulate faster if you control your stop losses and control your losses. So money management is a key factor.